Hey guys, today we're doing a stat breakdown of Wonderboy Thompson vs Michel Pereira, looking at striking stats, wrestling stats, records, and at the end I'll go through my prediction for how I think each guy can get it done and which guy gets it done on the day. Looking at general striking stats, Pereira has a significantly higher strike accuracy. This is however likely due to the types of strikes these two fighters throw, as we'll see on the next slide. Pereira also has a slightly higher strike defense, which is impressive considering how good Thompson's defense is. And Pereira also has an overall higher strike output. These guys have very different striking selections though. Pereira is the liver king, throwing 42.3% of strikes to the body. I'm not sure how he hasn't landed a body shot KO at this point. On the other hand, Thompson has a very conventional striking split, going to the head 67% of the time, the body 23% of the time, and the leg 10% of the time. Thompson has had a step change in his striking accuracy. He was consistently high earlier in his career and inconsistent and lower in the second half, which is likely due to the better quality of opponents he faced. He has also been held under 40% strike accuracy 4 times and has never won when that has happened. Thompson's defense has been solid, keeping his opponents under 50% accuracy in 15 of 19 UFC fights, and it seems wrestlers are the most accurate against him, likely with strikes from top position. Pereira, on the other hand, consistently strikes above 50% and struck at 42% in his only loss, so making Pereira miss, which Wonderboy can do, could be a way to beat him. There's no clear accuracy trend for Pereira's opponents, although his defense has been solid recently. His opponents have averaged 42% accuracy in his past 4 fights. Thompson put guys down early in his career, with knockdowns in 6 of his first 8 fights. However, as he fought better opponents, his knockdowns dried up to 2 in his past 11 fights. He also does only have a 62.5% finish rate with a knockdown, which is rather low. Wonderboy was knocked down in 3 of his 6 losses, so this is a great way to get a win over him, although he did survive 4 of 5 knockdowns, so he's hard to put away. Pereira is similar, landing 2 knockdowns in his first 3 fights, and he has not landed a knockdown since in his past 5. What sets Pereira apart though is that he has never been knocked down in his career and has a strike defense of 58% alongside never been putting down is just unreal general defense, although he has never faced a striker of Wonderboy's caliber, so we'll see how he holds up. Thompson is rarely outstruck and has only been outstruck by wrestlers and prime Darren Till. But recently he has pieced up non-wrestlers, so Pereira should definitely try to take this to the ground if he wants to win. Pereira has only been badly outstruck once, although he blamed a bad 38-pound weight cut for gassing out in that fight. He also has had a lot of close striking battles in his career, so by no means has he dominated all of his fights. Onto the grappling stats, Pereira has an advantage in all areas as expected. He attempts far more takedowns, has a higher takedown accuracy, has a godly takedown defense, and attempts more submissions, although it is notable that Thompson's takedown defense is solid at 64% considering the fighters he's fought. Thompson actually landed takedowns early in his career, with 5 takedowns in his first 7 fights. However, he's super unlikely to wrestle, as he has not landed a takedown in his past 12 fights. The floor is lava for Thompson, who is 1-4-1 when taken down, and only has 2 losses in his career when the fight is kept standing. And this is why Pereira is a scary opponent for Thompson. He has landed takedowns in 6 of 8 fights, and is 5-1 with a takedown if you count his DQ as a win, since he was about to cruise to a decision or a finish. Pereira also has top-tier takedown defense, and was only taken down by Ponzinibbio, who only controlled him for 18 seconds. Wrestling Thompson is a mythical fighter, since he's 5-0-1 with 100 seconds or more of control time. However, he has not passed this amount of control time in his past 9 fights. On the other hand, Thompson can get controlled, since he was controlled by 200 seconds or more on 5 separate occasions. You can also see most of this control time was in fights where he was actually taken down, so it wasn't clinch time. Despite landing takedowns in 6 fights, Pereira has only had 100 seconds of control time twice, which begs the question, do his opponents just get up, and will Wonderboy be able to do this too? Pereira was controlled by more than 300 seconds in his only loss, although he didn't concede a takedown, so maybe there was a position reversal on the ground or he just got clinched bad. Let me know in the comments if you watched this fight. Now, let's take a look at records and win methods before we get into predictions. Wonderboy is 12 wins and 6 losses in the UFC, whereas Pereira is 6 wins and 2 losses, where one of those losses was a DQ that he was going to win. Therefore, Pereira does have a better win-loss ratio. However, let's look at the quality of their opponents. Thompson's opponents are 221 wins and 123 losses in the UFC, whereas Pereira's opponents are only 55 and 44 in the UFC. Therefore, comparing the win-loss ratios, it's clear that Thompson has fought much better opponents in the UFC. Looking at win methods, Thompson is 50-50 with knockouts and decisions, having 6 of each, whereas Pereira has mostly decisions alongside 1 knockout and 1 sub. Lastly, looking at loss methods, Thompson is near impossible to finish, with 5 decision losses and only 1 knockout loss to Anthony Pettis. Similarly, Pereira is also tough to finish, with 1 decision loss and 1 disqualification. Now, to summarise the key points of this fight, Thompson kept his opponents under 40% accuracy 7 times and won 6 of 7 of those fights, whereas Pereira's only loss was where he struck at 42%, 12% below his average, so if Wonderboy makes Pereira miss, it could be a wrap. However, Wonderboy does tend to land knockdowns, whereas Pereira has never been knocked down in his career, so it's interesting to see which way this stat will go. Lastly, the most important point, Thompson is 1-4-1 when taken down, whereas Pereira has landed a takedown in 6 of 8 of his fights, so if Pereira gets Thompson down, it could be all over. Therefore, my prediction for how each guy gets it done. Thompson defends the early takedown, or at least he gets up quickly and fights most of each round on the feet. If he does this, Pereira may gas late, which he has done on multiple occasions, especially since this fight is at altitude in Salt Lake City. If Pereira gasses against Wonderboy, it will not end well. I see Wonderboy teeing off in the 3rd round, landing a round 3 knockout. On the other hand, Pereira must engage in a clinch to take away Wonderboy's leg strikes and get a takedown early. As much as I love Pereira's antics and backflips, he needs to conserve energy, especially at the altitude of Salt Lake City. If he does both of these things, I see him winning a decision. If I was to pick a winner for this fight, I think I would have to go with Wonderboy. He has fought tougher opponents, has a decent takedown defense, and doesn't get finished on the ground, so he will have an opportunity to strike at least at the start of each round before he gets taken down. That's the end of this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, there's a Patreon in the description if you want to support the channel. Otherwise, you can let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen for this fight, and if there are any stats that surprised you. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all those good things, and enjoy the fights.